President Biden's dwindling support. New polls reveal potential trouble for second-term Biden Washington, TND. Less than a year away from Election Day 2024, new polls show President Joe Biden is losing support from key Democratic blocs and trailing former President Donald Trump in several swing states. Biden has a lot of work ahead of him to secure a second term. He just looks weak, and I'm not just talking about physically. People want to see their president going to the mat to get what he wants, explained comedian and media personality, Charlamagne on Comedy Central's The Daily Show. This harsh criticism highlights Biden's waning support from key Democratic voting blocs. An ABC News, Ipsos poll shows Biden's favorability with black voters is low at 49% and even lower with Hispanics at 33%. Support from young voters is lagging too. A Quinnipiac poll shows independent presidential candidate, 69-year-old Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has more support from voters aged 18 to 34. He's got 38%, and 80-year-old Biden has 32%. If you're that young, he just seems like someone from a different era, and I think that makes it hard for people to vote for him, explained Tevi Troy, former Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services for the George W. Bush administration and senior fellow and the head of the Presidential Leadership Initiative at the Bipartisan Policy Center. New numbers from the New York Times and Siena College show Biden falls behind Trump in 5 of the 6 battleground states including Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Biden is ahead in Wisconsin. Voters say the economy and Biden's age are 2 huge factors. For him, the issue is not political, it's actuarial. You can see that in this poll. A lot of concern about the age issue, and I think that is something that he needs to ponder. Just do a check and say, is this the right thing to do? Said David Axelrod, a former chief strategist and senior advisor to former President Barack Obama. I should point out, we had lousy polling numbers in our campaign in 2011 when I was working for Barack Obama, and we overcame those numbers and we won. But the 2 things that are different are that Obama was 50 and not 81, and we didn't have Donald Trump on the other side. Axelrod suggesting Biden needs to carefully think about whether he should continue to seek re-election. He sounded off during an interview on CNN and a series of posts on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Only a Joe Biden can make this decision. If he continues to run, he will be the nominee of the Democratic Party. What he needs to decide is whether that is wise, whether it's in his best interest or the country's. However, Trump's legal troubles could be Biden's saving grace, because the poll shows roughly 6% of voters across those 5 swing states would switch from Trump to Biden if Trump is convicted. It obviously hurts him, but on the other hand, Trump has been skillful in kind of belittling the attempts to get him, whether it's on impeachment or convictions or January 6th hearings, Troy said. Jacob Neuheisel, associate professor of political science at the University at Buffalo College of Arts and Sciences, said it's still too early to read too much into these poll numbers. If you look at maybe some of Obama's polling in 2012, they don't show a substantially different picture. I mean, less bad, potentially. But they still show a much tighter race than what it actually ended up being. And so I think that there's some precedent for these types of numbers. That's not saying that if I were running Biden's campaign, I wouldn't be worried. I absolutely would be. But there's steps that they can take to manage these issues, Neuheisel warned. Predictions more than a year out tend to look a little different a year later. Don't take our word for it. Gallup predicted an 8-point loss for President Obama only for him to win handily a year later. Or a year out from the 2022 midterms when every major outlet similarly predicted a grim forecast for President Biden. Coming off those historic midterms, President Biden's campaign is hard at work reaching and mobilizing our diverse, winning coalition of voters 1 year out on the choice between our winning, popular agenda and MAGA Republicans' unpopular extremism. We'll win in 2024 by putting our heads down and doing the work, not by fretting about a poll, said Kevin Munoz, a spokesman for Biden's re-election campaign.